Good afternoon, this is Anna Nichenko on UATV English, breaking hard truths in easy terms for the whole free world directly from Ukraine. The 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly began today. The war in Ukraine is one of the main themes, but so too the intractable crisis posed by climate change and the aftershocks of the coronavirus pandemic. Efforts to reach the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals are faltering, with governments no longer on track to eradicate global poverty by 2030, among other commitments made in 2015. And more diplomats openly grumble that the United Nations as an institution is no longer fit for purpose to meet an array of challenges. Ukraine definitely has something to say about the topic of discussion of this General Assembly: rebuilding trust and reigniting global solidarity. The President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, arrived in New York to participate in the events of the 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly. The President of Ukraine is a welcome guest abroad, unlike Putin, who rarely leaves his country for fear of criminal prosecution. By starting the war, Russia isolated itself, not Ukraine. The territorial integrity of the state is the key principle for all basic international documents, in particular the United Nations Charter. It is necessary to restore its full force destroyed by the Russian invasion. In the United States, negotiations are also planned with President Joe Biden, leaders of the chambers and parties of Congress, and the military leadership. Ukraine will convey its position on the prospects of the military campaign and the need for Western weapons to win. But Zelensky started visit to the US with the most important thing, meeting our wounded warriors at Staten Island University Hospital. He thanked them all for their service and wished them a speedy recovery. He also thanked and awarded medical personnel and the Kind Deeds Foundation.
Very thankful. Thank you very much. Supported Ukrainian soldiers, our heroes, from the very beginning of full-scale war. Thank you so much. My appreciation from all our country.
First Lady Elena Zelenska will also deliver several speeches within the framework of the General Assembly on the protection of Ukrainian children and the cultural heritage of Ukraine in times of war. Ukraine files a lawsuit with the World Trade Organization against Poland, Slovakia and Hungary, which, contrary to the decision of the European Commission, introduced a national ban on the import of Ukrainian agricultural goods. The European Commission supported Ukraine. It decided to leave the moratorium on imports of Ukrainian agricultural products. The decision of the three countries, Poland, Slovakia and Hungary, is a violation of the international obligations of these countries to the European Union and Ukraine. Slovakia, Hungary and Poland don't simply have obligations to the European Union in the field of agricultural policy. The farmers of these countries receive significant subsidies from the European Union. The decisions of Poland and Slovakia are populist because they are aimed primarily at winning the support of the electorate on the eve of the elections in autumn 2023. Hungary's position, unfortunately, is already traditionally anti-Ukrainian.
It is fundamentally important for us to prove that individual member states may not ban the import of Ukrainian goods. That is why we file lawsuits against them in the WTO. At the same time, we hope that these countries will lift their restrictions and we will not have to settle the matter in court for a long time. We need solidarity with them and the protection of farmers' interests. The steps we have taken and the pressure of the European Commission and other member states will help restore normal trade between Ukraine and neighboring countries, as well as show solidarity between us. Yulia Sviridenko, First Deputy Prime Minister of Ukraine.
The source of the conflict lies in undermining the traditional mechanisms of Ukrainian agricultural experts because of the Russian naval blockade. Therefore, the problem should be solved by jointly countering the aggression of Russia, because Ukrainian grain in neighboring countries isn't our will, but necessity. After all, our farmers now have many difficulties. First, a large part of the workers were forced to go to the front to defend the country. Our farmers are forced to sell their harvest at low prices because it is difficult to export it. Our farmers are forced to spend money on land demining. Our farmers are forced to cover the insurance risk because rockets and drones are constantly flying on elevators and feed mills. Our farmers are forced to think about how to dry grain in blackout conditions. Our farmers are forced to cover the perimeter of the fields so that the entire crop does not burn from the shelling. And our farmers are forced to buy imported fuel and fertilizers. And despite all these problems, our farmers continue to work. Of course, we appreciate the partnership and the huge assistance we receive from Poland and Slovakia during the war. We don't seek confrontation. Therefore, video arbitration is the more civilized way to resolve the dispute. Did you know that Ukraine, in addition to fighting open military Russian aggression, is also preparing crops d'etat in other countries? And I didn't know. I didn't even imagine. But in Georgia, they believe that way. The State Security Service of Georgia accused the main Directorate of Intelligence of Ukraine of preparing mass riots and violent change of power, given the future dissatisfaction of Georgians with the refusal of the European Commission to grant Georgia the status of a candidate for European Union membership. Of course, Tbilisi has not provided any evidence of its allegations. Claiming to obtain the status of a candidate for European Union membership, Georgia didn't do its homework the European Commission gave it. So the Georgian authorities are thus trying to neutralize the society's reaction to its failure. Official Tbilisi is searching for a source of threats to Georgia's national sovereignty in the wrong place. It is Russia, not Ukraine, that has a long history of destabilizing and dismembering Georgia. The current policy of Tbilisi, pandering to Moscow, won't save it from Russian imperialism. Only the victory of Ukraine and the weakening of Russia can prevent a new aggression in the Caucasus. It is the support of Ukraine and not allegations against it that meets the real interest of Georgia. So it was Anna Nichenko on UATV English, hoping to give you the hard truths in easy enough terms on our daily wrap-up today. Comment, like and subscribe. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters a lot for us. Stay safe and tuned for more tomorrow. See you.